Hi ladybugs, I thought I'd do a little bit different video today because I wanted to talk to you a little bit about my condition and some of the struggles that I have. And I have to feed the dogs anyway, so I figure I'll talk to you guys while I do that. So I probably mentioned it, but I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is a genetic connective tissue disorder. So basically, collagen is the glue that holds everything together in your body. People with Ehlers-Danlos make a mutated form of collagen, so it can't be used by the body for glue. So things just fall apart, like, you know, your joints dislocate. Like, the reason I have the tube is because my stomach has stretched out so far at this point that the muscles are non-functional. So there's that. And then, you know, you can have cellular rupture, you can have organ rupture, you can have all kinds of things rupture because you don't have the glue. The other thing is that your joints, sorry, I'm still on camera, I'm getting the dog food ready, is that your joints they go past the normal limit of what they're supposed to be able to do. So, like, I can give you an easy example without, like, causing pain to myself, but you can see my thumbs touch my wrists. But I can also bend my fingers back almost to my forearm, but that causes pain later on, so I'm not going to do that. It's just it's a hard disease to have, you know. Along with side of my Ehlers-Danlos, I have gastroparesis, which is a stomach condition where your stomach basically stops digesting food properly. I also have, and these are all conditions associated with Ehlers-Danlos. They're not separate conditions. They're usually associated with it. I also have, whoops, spilling some food. That's okay, the dogs will eat it. I also have MCAS, which is mast cell activation syndrome. And that also comes with most people, not everybody, but a lot of people with Ehlers-Danlos have MCAS. And basically what that means is that the mast cells in your body, which are the cells that create histamine, so like when you have an allergic reaction, those cells create the histamine to, I don't actually know what it does because it seems like it makes things more uncomfortable, but I guess it helps with allergic reactions somehow. But my body makes so many mast cells that if I get a cut or a burn or anything like that, it causes my body to react like it's an allergic reaction and not a cut or a burn. So it doesn't send white cells to the area, it sends mast cells to the area. So yeah. So that's pretty sucky. And then, I get a lot of nausea. I also have the third condition that goes along with Ehlers-Danlos. Most people with Ehlers-Danlos have it. It's called dysautonomia. And dysautonomia is basically a malfunction of the autonomic nervous system. So the autonomic nervous system is things that you don't control, like your temperature, your heart rate, your breathing, all those kinds of things. All those things that the body does naturally without you having to decide to do it. So along with that comes dizziness, lots of nausea, trying to think what else, a lot of body pain from dislocated joints and all that. And some days I have good days where I feel pretty good, and then other days I have bad days where I feel like crap, and that's today. Today's a bad day. I just don't feel good. My whole body feels off. It just doesn't feel good at all. So it stinks on days like that. It's just hard, you know. I've been watching a lot of videos about TikTok creators, and one of the things I've noticed is that there's a lot of TikTok creators that fake illnesses, like, you know, multiple personality or Tourette's, things like that. And all I can think about is, why would somebody fake conditions like that, you know? I would give anything to give my condition up, you know? Why would you fake having a serious condition? I just don't understand that. Because I would give anything to give up my Ehlers-Danlos, you know? I don't get anything for it. It's just all bad. The whole condition is bad. It's not like it does anything good for me. So I would give it up in a heartbeat if I could. But I see a lot of people faking conditions and people faking like mobility issues. And I just don't understand that, because I would give mine up in a heartbeat. Like, I would give up my condition if I could in a second. Like, there's nothing I wouldn't do to get rid of this condition. It's horrible to have. And I think anybody that has a chronic condition knows that it's pretty horrible to have chronic conditions, you know? So I really don't understand why people would fake it. Hold on one second. Let me get the dog food. You know, I just don't understand it at all. I really don't understand society's fascination these days with wanting a horrible, debilitating condition. Because those of us that have them would pretty much do anything to get rid of them. But I see so many people all the time faking cancer, faking this, faking that. And it's like, why? Why would you want that? Why would you want that condition? You know, why do you not want to be healthy and able-bodied, you know? There are so many things I want to do in my life. You know, so many things that I want to bike ride, I want to hike, I want to, you know, swim, I want to go camping. I mean, I want to do so much with my life, and I can't. Not because, you know, I'm choosing to have some condition, but because I was born with it and I don't have any control over it. So I just don't understand why people would try and fake these conditions or fake that they're sick, you know? Anybody who's really sick will tell you that they would do anything to be healthy. I mean, anything. There is nothing any one of us wouldn't give to be able to do everything we want to do. It always, Shiloh, no, it always seems like the people who are healthy want to be sick, and the people who are sick want to be healthy. You know what I mean? It's just terrible to me, because there's just nothing I wouldn't do to be able to do everything I want to do in my life. You know, I wanted to be a prison chaplain, and I can't, you know, because I can't work and make money, so I can't finish school, you know, and like, there's just so much I want to do with my life, and so many places I want to go that I can't go. And I think there are a lot of people I know who have fibromyalgia, Shiloh, or some other debilitating condition, and they know what I'm talking about. You know, there's so much I want to do with my life. You know, there's so much. I know a lot of people who have conditions. There's so much they want to do with their lives, and they can't. So it really blows my mind to have people faking conditions, because I'll trade with them in a heartbeat. If I could, I would totally do it in a second. There's nothing that would stop me from trading with somebody who's healthy. You know, if I could get rid of the pain every day. I mean, I dislocate between 30 and 50 joints a day, you know. And I'm not just big joints, little joints. My fingers, my wrists, my ankles, my knees, they slide in and out like nobody's business. You know, that's a lot of pain. That's constant pain. And there's nothing I wouldn't do to get rid of that. Shiloh, relax. As you can tell, we have an impatient puppy who doesn't want to wait for me to stir up dinner. He wants to eat now. He just wants me to throw it on the floor in a big heap, and he'll eat it. Yeah, he's the only one that's a little bit difficult at dinner time. He just does not like to wait. It takes a minute because I have to mix their tooth powder into their food, so it takes me a minute to mix it all together. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, I just don't know anybody who's sick or has a condition that limits them so much, like me, who wouldn't give anything to trade with a healthy person in a heartbeat, you know? People say people fake it for attention or whatever, but you know what? There is no amount of attention that's worth losing your mobility and your life. Come on, Nini. No, that's not yours. Get out of there. You know, there's no amount of attention that's worth that. Come on, Chuggy. There you go, baby. There you go, Tai Tai. There you go, sweetheart. Here you go, Kobe. Sorry, I'll talk to you guys in a minute. I'm just putting the plates down. There's Kobe Bobby, huh? Come on, guys. Come on, Lolo. So, yeah, I don't know anybody that wouldn't trade if they could. And I see so many people faking stuff. And it's like, why are you doing that? Like, you have your whole life ahead of you. Why would you give that up? Here, Joe. Nene, come on. You know, I see people giving up stuff that I am fighting so desperately to keep. You know, I'm fighting to keep my mobility and to keep my freedom and to keep my, you know, anything. And I see people so ready to give that stuff away, you know, and it just drives me nuts because I don't understand it. Not even a little bit. I just don't understand it at all. Hang on, I gotta take Nini's food outside because that's where she is and she's not coming in to eat. If I don't, somebody else will eat her food. Here, Nini. Come on, Niners, come eat. So, yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, I just don't understand people these days, you know? You got so many people faking illnesses and faking this and faking that, and it's like, do you have any idea how lucky you are? That's how I feel, you know? Like, people have no idea how lucky they are. If you can get up and do what you want every day, you are so blessed, and you should not throw that away or take that for granted. Because there are people out there who are fighting tooth and nail desperately to have exactly what you have, which is health and ability. You know? Tonight we had fried tortillas, and we had, this is chicken and bell peppers with taco seasoning. It's a homemade taco seasoning because we don't use the store-bought stuff. And then with that, we put pico de gallo and salsa on the tortillas. So it was good. I just needed to rant a little bit because I feel like people don't realize what they have. Hold on, I got to fix Joey's little arm. Hold on. Come here, Joe. Keep your arm in your sweatshirt, buddy. So, yeah, people don't realize what they have, and they're willing to throw it away so easily. And it just makes no sense to me. Makes me incredibly jealous because I feel like I would give anything to be in their shoes, to be able to fake it, you know? To be able to turn it on and off on a whim, you know? That would be a dream come true. And I think anybody who has a chronic disease would feel the same way. You know, anybody who has to deal with a diagnosis on a regular basis knows what I'm saying. You know, we would do anything to not have what we have, and to see other people just throwing away their mobility and throwing away their health. It's unsettling and it's disgusting. Now, I don't pretend to know why people do the things that they do, but I do know that if you're healthy and you can be active, you should be thankful. Because me and people like me would do anything to have that ability. I don't talk a lot about my disability because I don't want it to become the focus of the channel, you know, like I want it to be the reborn babies. But sometimes I just get so frustrated with people, you know. Seeing people faking these debilitating conditions, not only is it robbing themselves of health and wellness, But it is offensive and insulting to people who actually suffer from that condition. Like if you watch, like I'm going to give you some examples, like Ticks and Roses when it comes to Tourette's, or the A system when it comes to DID, which used to be called multiple personality disorder. And the reality is that these guys do it in they fake it in such a comical way that it is a massive insult to the people who have it, because they're cosplaying. It's not even like a little bit believable. Like it's so fake. And it's an insult. The people that really suffer from those conditions, that have no choice but to deal with them, I can imagine them seeing these accounts and just being incredibly angry that, you know, these people are basically mocking them. Ehlers-Danlos is a little bit harder to fake because, you know, it's confirmed through through genetic testing. So I don't really have that concern a lot. I have people who say they have it that don't have it, you know, but it's harder to fake in the medical community because there's tests that can prove whether or not you have Ehlers-Danlos. You know what I mean? It's not like I'm going to use fibromyalgia as an example. There's no test for fibromyalgia. And fibromyalgia can be, people can just say, oh, I have this symptom, and that symptom. And they can be diagnosed with it without any real testing or any proof that they have it. So, you know, with my condition, it's harder to fake, like I said, because it is a test that has a condition that has testing for it. So if you don't have the markers for it, you don't have the condition. It's just that simple. But I can imagine with other conditions, it must be hard, that are not as cut and dry. It must be hard to see people faking it and making a mockery of someone's condition. I can imagine that would be pretty hard. But people just don't understand, you know? They don't understand how blessed they are if they're healthy, you know? It's just sad because we've gone from, Evie, people used to look at what was considered, you know, admirable, was like holding a job and, you know, rock climbing and things like that. And now, in our current societal system, what is admirable now is illness and disease. So lots and lots of people, and the thing is that these people who are faking, like the A System and Ticks and Roses and other accounts like them, they make millions and millions of dollars off, you know, people who are their followers, and they don't even have that condition. You know, there are people that have those conditions that could use that money for therapy or treatment. And these people don't even need treatment, and they just take the money and blow it on whatever. It's disgusting. And it's even more disgusting that so many people fall for it. Like, why does someone get admiration and 1 million followers for having a mental illness? Like, that's not something they can control. It's not something they work towards. It's not something that should be admired, you know? It just frustrates me because I see people who really suffer from those conditions struggling to make rent. And then you see these fake people who clearly don't have the condition and are faking it. And they're making millions off a condition they don't have, they never had, and a condition they don't need treatment for. It's just sad. Our society has gone way down. You know, I'm so beyond frustrated with this whole mess, you know? I feel like if you're gonna throw money at people with DID or people with Tourette's, then it should be the actual people with that condition so they can use the money for, you know, treatment or resources or whatever they need. But they don't. People throw money at these fake accounts that never had this condition. And all they do is mock it. All they do is mock it and make fun of people, and they're just terrible people. It's just really sad. Like I said, I would give anything to be healthy. Sorry, I would give anything to be healthy, you know? I would do anything to be healthy. Gotta get some food for the turtle. I would do anything to basically have the life that I want to have, you know? And unfortunately for me, that's just not in the cards. But it really bothers me to see people taking their health and their mobility and throwing it away, you know? It just really bothers me. I know it probably shouldn't because it's not really my business, but what I wouldn't give, you know, to be able to throw some health away, you know? I don't even have the health to throw away. You know, it's just frustrating. I just wanted to come on here and talk to you guys because it makes me feel better, and because, you know, you guys understand what I'm going through, and it's so hard. It's so hard having a condition that you have no control over, you know? It must be nice for those TikTok accounts to be able to be sick when it pleases them, because that's not how it works for most sick people. You know, most sick people don't get to choose when they're sick and when they're healthy. Most sick people are just sick or healthy. So it must be nice for some people to have that ability. But I just wanted to come on here and say that. We're going to go get the turtle before I let you guys go so you can see him. He has this pen. And these are usually lilies all summer that were big and bushy. And he buries himself in the ground when it starts to get into the evening. So you can see there he is. Hello. Hello, Winston. Winstonian. He's not one to unbury himself. Here he is. Here's Winston. Winston the Great. The magical, marvelous Winston. Look at his little legs kicking. He always kicks his legs when I'm carrying him. The magical, marvelous little Winston. Isn't he cute? Look at that guy. So there's our little Winston. Look at him swimming. He's such a cute guy. He's going to go in his cage and have his dinner. There we go, buddy. And there he is. He's going straight for the dinner. I'll let you guys see him enjoying his dinner because he goes straight for dinner when he comes in. Winston, are we going to eat? Here's Winston. Hey, knock it off. Chuggy. Go ahead, buddy. He's like, too many people are watching me. He's got the cutest little tongue. He's got this bright pink little tongue. It's so cute. Let's see if he'll eat for you guys. What you doing? He's a real sociable little guy. You gonna eat? He's thinking about it. He says, you woke me up. Huh? You woke me up, huh, Winston? Anyway, that's my little turtley butt. Who's that? Hi, Tiny. You gonna eat, bud? There he goes. See, look at his little tongue. He'll get a bite of it. Takes him a minute, but he'll get a bite of it. There he goes. Chuggy! There he goes. He's going to chomp down now. Anyway, I just wanted to talk to you guys about it because I find it very frustrating, and I don't know why people do it. If you know why, or you have a suspicion why, please tell me in the comments, because I'm just at a loss. I was going to talk at the next Ehlers-Danlos area meeting, and I was going to talk about this very topic, but I'm kind of stuck on why people do it. So if you have any ideas, that would be great. Anyway, guys, I'll talk to you later. Love you, ladybugs. Have a good night. Bye.